It's so serious.
It was, I actually missed
Hey,
the
babe,
first
here I
quarter.
come.
Oh, you're lucky.
Watch out, coming in for a landing.
And I'm like, I saw a great game. I don't know what everybody else
Hope the
saw.
lights are on.
It was horrendous.
Pop the what?
And not even 4 minutes in the game. Is she awful? Having a meltdown.
When I finally got
She
to
is pretty awful
watch
because
it,
I've
I'm like,
never been
kidding me?
awful to her.
And I'm
I've
thinking,
never
okay,
had a
well, it'll
bad
be an
word to
early.
say to her.
But when they got to halftime, I said,
And if I did, I
but
would
this
say
is
it
the
to
way
her
the games always
face.
play out. And then the other team always seems to come back.
So,
So, you know,
maybe I'll start tonight. What do you think?
we'll go with
Oh, yeah?
that theory.
This thing is way too close. Who put that up?
No, what they set up is,
Huh?
Good evening. I'd like to open the November 25th meeting of the Oxford School Committee, the time being 6 o'clock. All right, we'll start off with the approval of our minutes from our October 28th meeting, please. Any corrections, additions, deletions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Walker?
on page 3, it's just a typo.
Okay.
Under Superintendent of Schools, we've had terrific responses at the past super with supers. I think
Oh, yeah, we're missing a
Secretary can fix that.
Very good, thank you.
Otherwise, I move that they be accepted.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5 affirmative, with a correction. Thank you. We have a gentleman here, that's going to give a presentation. Mr. Himmelberger, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ennis. This is part of Mass Insight, and that is a public-private partnership that has been doing great work around the Commonwealth. And we have with us John Smolensky, who is the director, and this is part of the Math Science Initiative, which is now funded at the state level as well, out of the state budget, and it will allow, we have to apply for a 3-year grant. And it is pretty exciting as it dovetails with what we wanted to do anyway, which was to expand our offerings at Oxford High School. Are you ready, sir?
We're gonna kind of go a little bit off the cuff a little bit while
Okay.
we're waiting for the slides, but I do
Just
have,
getting the technology squared away.
I do have copies of the briefing, so if everybody could take one, perhaps you could follow on with me while we figure out the details here. But, hi, everybody, I'm John Smolensky, I'm with the Massachusetts Math and Science Initiative. We're a major grant that supports advanced placement in math, science, and English in your schools. And so, we've been in 78 different public high schools in Massachusetts. We're hopeful that, you guys will apply, you're in the process of application. So, we're getting close to being able to show you our briefing. But anyhow, we have 3 key goals in the program. So, to increase participation in the most rigorous courses being advanced placement, and particularly with this program, math, science, and English. What's an advanced placement course? Well, it's defined as a university level freshman course that you take in high school. There's a national exam at the end. Everybody takes the same test on the same date at the same time. It's corrected by the same people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5's the best, 1 is not the best. With a 3 or higher, you can earn college credit. So for instance, a 3 on an AP physics exam is worth 8 college credits at UMass Amherst. So you can earn a tremendous amount of credit while still in high school. And it does allow you to compete for admission with students from all over the country. Because a 3 on the AP exam at Oxford High School is the same as a 3 on the AP exam at Weymouth or Wellesley or Longmeadow or Boston Latin School that graduated 3 presidents. A 3 is a 3 is a 3 is a 3. So we're in a number of schools that have done very well in the grant. There's a little map here in your handout, a little bit hard to see, but within the region, we're at Bartlett, we're at Shepherd Hill, Tantascwa, we've been at Oxford, we've been at Douglas, that's on the first page. And so a number of different schools within the region. Why is this important? For a couple of reasons. One is what counts in college admissions. This little chart on page 2, slide number 5, is the what is from the Association of College Admissions Counselors, the people that decide on college admissions on your kids. And a lot of things count. More than anything else, the courses in high school are the more difficult courses, the better. There's no honors courses in college. There's only college courses in college. Better that you take one or more of the more rigorous courses while you're here, rather than taking nothing but AP level courses in your freshman year, and it can be a shock to student systems. So on the next slide, it talks about college success. Only 1 in 3 kids that go to community college will graduate, and that's in double the amount of time. So after the kids leave here, your wonderful school, and they go out to school, not your school specifically, but in general in the United States, 2 out of 3 won't graduate. At public four-year colleges, about half graduate in 6 years rather than 4. So that's a problem. Now, kids that get into AP courses tend to have higher GPAs because they've seen college level work before taking nothing but college level work. So we've been pretty successful at moving more kids forward. Our goal is not to have your best and brightest kids take one more AP course because they can. Our goal is a little bit more radical. It's for the next 25 to 30% of your kids to take an AP course with a lot of support, so that they're not surprised at how rigorous college is. And so what do? We have a tremendous support package that involves professional development for your teachers. So the average AP teacher may go to a summer institute 5 days in the summer, whether it's Taft or St. Johnsbury, infrequently. Your teachers would get to go twice in the next 3 years with some of the best teachers of teachers that are out there. We have, last year we had 3 chief readers at our summer institute. The chief reader is the person in charge of a particular course for the nation. So we had the chief reader for calculus, we had the chief reader for physics, we had a chief reader for English. We get a number of members of the test development committees. We had a number of members of the course redesign committees. We run it at Bridgewater State University in their new Math and Science Center. Your teachers would get a wonderful experience. In addition to that, there is a 2-day workshop that we do every fall. So your teachers would get in math, science, and English 7 days of professional development per year for the next 3 years. In addition to that, we help underwrite the cost of the exams. About 20% of the cost of the exams. The AP exams cost $89. If it's a full cost exam, we would pay about $19.75. If a student is on free or reduced lunch, it's already reduced all the way down to $15, and we would pay $3.75 of that. We do ask for open access. Sometimes it's very hard. In many schools, it's a very tight pyramid to get into these AP courses because sometimes schools feel that their students can't do the work. We think cognitively many more of your students can do advanced placement work given the opportunity, given the right level of support. We do help buy equipment and supplies, whether it's spectrophotometers, graphing calculators, a lot of other different things for your schools. And then the real big one, it's Saturday student study sessions. So we do have Saturday student study sessions that we do with your students. Bear with me while I see if I can pull this up real quickly. I think that we're going to be successful. Better late than never. Yep. Long-awaited briefing has arrived. Bear with me 1 second. And then slideshow from beginning. We're going to catch up. Sorry about that. So let's just go forward. Equipment and supplies Saturday study sessions. Your students that that are in the program would get to go to 3 Saturdays. So a student taking calculus and biology and English literature, it's actually 9, 3 different Saturdays. We bring in different faculty up from all across the state and pay them to come. So it's some of the best AP teachers in the Commonwealth teaching across district lines. We feed your kids pizza for lunch. We give them a snack in the morning. They like to meet the other kids from the other schools, so we do this regionally, and we cluster our schools for mutual support. We raffle off iPods and iPads and gift cards to help convince them to come. We're averaging 60 to 70% take rates in our various schools that are in the program. And again, as far as the other schools in the program, just to give you a better idea now who is in, this is who's in this year. We had another 20 schools that completed their LOA last year. That included schools like Douglas and Uxbridge and Bellingham. We're also in Northbridge. We have about 20 schools that have applied for next year. This is why, and then, so the Saturdays is an absolute key piece. Our data shows that kids that attend all 3 Saturdays have about triple the chance to gain a qualifying score on the exam. This is why this is important. We were able to look at our students that are in schools that we're supporting and compare them to other Massachusetts students due to a data sharing agreement that we have. And so persistence rates, the ability to go from the freshman year to the sophomore year without having that aw shucks moment that we talked about on the earlier slides where only 1 in 3 kids that go to the community college graduate. So this is going from freshman to sophomore. At community colleges, 23% higher in schools that we support. At public 2-year schools, about 10% higher. Compared that to this statistic, which is the researchers are Hargrove, Godin, and Dodd, that talk about the impact on GPAs that if you're in an AP course. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the exam, all the way to the right, scores of 4 and 5. Then 3, circled is a 2. That's not even a qualifying score. Dual enrollment 1, no AP. What's the difference? This is a large sample size, over 300,000 college students in Texas. If you get into an AP course and you apply yourself, and even if you cut a 2, which again is defined as maybe qualified, the impact on your GPA is almost a half a point higher because you're not seeing college material for the first time in your freshman year when you're taking 5 AP level courses. This data just came out. You guys are about the first folks to see this. Low-income students. You do have about 1 in 3 students that would be considered a low-income student in Oxford. On average, students that are on the free or reduced lunch program that are in AP have a matriculation rate from freshman to the sophomore year of 25 to 40%. In our program, that persistence rate is 85% with a projected graduation rate of 68% because the kids are getting into these courses. Last year, 1 in 3 kids in your school is considered eligible for the subsidy, and you had 11 exams. That could be 4 students. So another goal of ours is for in the schools that we support is for your AP course census to replicate the census of your school, whether it's gender diversity, ethnic diversity, or economic diversity. So we're pretty happy with that number. In the last 5 years, the United States had a 32% increase in qualifying scores 3 or higher. Math, science, or English, we had a 43% in Massachusetts. In schools that we support, it's 107%. If you backed out the 61 schools that we were in from the Massachusetts number, it would fall below the United States of America. We more than doubled the number of 4s and 5s. A common comment is, well, if I let John in my AP course, who's a 2 on most days and a 3 on his best days, then the Oxford School Committee wouldn't all get 5s because they're fully capable of getting 5s. I would have to slow down my instruction for John. Just not true. If you can see, blue is 4s. We've gone same schools, same 61 schools, from 742 scores of 4 to 1,761. That's a college level B. From 449 5s to over 900 5s. That's a college level A. In 2011, we had 15% of the high school juniors and seniors. Those are the ordinary years where you take an AP course in Massachusetts. All students, not just AP students. 15% of the students produce 30% of qualifying score gain for the state. 51% of the minority student qualifying score gain for the state produced 72% of the qualifying score gained for low-income students for the state, 21% for female students in STEM. We look at the girls in STEM, we look at the boys in English. Last year in English, at your school, you had 3 males take an AP English exam. They don't get it. They're gonna have to take it in college. It's called English 101 and 102 at every college in America. It's pay me now or pay me later. Similar results last year. This is Lee Middle School. First year of the program went from middle and high, from 3 to 37 qualifying scores. Drury from 22 to 41. And so we were able to template school, just a couple other schools. Auburn, 58 to 112. Ludlow, huge jump. Palmer, 2 straight years, colossal increases in calculus, particularly Future Engineers of America. Agawam, year after year after year, they set a new record, qualifying scores. Gardner, first year in the program, from 42 to 93 qualifying scores. And here's where you guys are at. Remarkably consistent, actually 3 years of growth, but not significant growth, from 23 to 27 to 31. This is math, science, and English, scores of 3 or higher on the exam. It is not through any lack of talent with your teachers or with your students. It's because you have very small classes. And this is about taking a very tight pyramid and doing this, flattening it out. I mean, if we put your entire student body in the room here and said, who wants to go to college after graduation? Just about everybody, right? But we want more of them to be fully prepared. And this is not the only way for them to be prepared, but it is a way. So again, you have a good program, your teachers are producing scores. We would just like to get more kids in front of them and train more teachers. And so when we look at you in context, this is a way to compare big schools and small schools by taking the number of qualifying scores, 3 or higher, and extrapolating that to 1 over 1,000. And so blue is the United States of America, orange is Massachusetts. Not surprising that Massachusetts is outproducing the United States of America. We've got great high schools in Massachusetts. You guys are one of them. Green is Oxford High School. We are currently underperforming as far as the number of qualifying scores you're producing, both the United States of America and Massachusetts, largely because you have a very small program. For the 15 or so kids that are getting into AP every year in the senior class, it's a great program. How about if we got 40 kids in the senior class every year and another 20 or 30 in the junior class every year or more, but with a level of support. 16 hours, the best AP tutoring that money can buy. If your parents were paying for that, they'd be paying $1,000 probably on the outside market if they were doing all 3 courses. Wonderful PD for your teachers, more stuff for your classroom, help the kids pay for the exam. It's a kind of a comprehensive program that has seen great success in many of your neighboring schools. There is a cost associated with this. This used to be fully funded by ExxonMobil, by the Dell Foundation, by Gates and others. Now it's funded partially by the Commonwealth, so there is a line item in the budget, so we're very thankful to your legislators for that. But we do ask schools to pay pretty much $1 to gain 5. A school of your size, it would probably be about $10,000 per year. But we are picking up the majority of the professional development budget for 3 of your largest departments per year, as well as doing a number of other things. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my my presentation. Sorry, it came to you a little bit late, but I think we covered most of it. I can email any of you that might be interested. I will leave some business cards up here should you decide to have any questions that I can't answer right now. Subject to your questions.
I'm going to start off with a couple of questions. Thank you very much for your presentation. When you were saying that you were targeting a population, how do you find these students? Do they come to you, or do you seek them out?
That's an excellent question. So the problem is that most students don't self-select. That the AP courses is for those kids, and Mrs. Jones's class down the hall, right? So it is a process where we bring more students forward by physically reaching out to them. It could be an AP night with parents. We supported over 20 of those last year and would be happy to do that here this year. It could be some classroom visits. So last year we visited over 1,200 student classrooms to make the case for what I showed you here today. Impact on college admission, impact on college success. The kids will move in the direction of their self-interest. Sometimes they just need to hear it from the fourth or fifth time from the fourth or fifth different person. Most of them want to go to college. They want to be successful when they get there. They have a vision of which college they want to go to. Not all of those things always line up with reality. And so we want to create a vision of reality by virtue of taking the more difficult courses. So we would assist in that. We personally, among others, do a lot of that type of activity.
Okay, that's interesting. The other side of it is, of course, the dollar side. The Commonwealth, you said, kicks in some money. How much do they bring to the table?
Last year, it was $2 million. This year, we're in a position to compete for $2.6 million. That has not played out. There's kind of a process that one goes to bid on that, but I think we're in a pretty good position to compete for it.
And how long have you been in the schools that are local to us, like Douglas, Auburn, Uxbridge?
Douglas did 3 full years with us, as did Uxbridge, so it's ordinarily a 3-year intervention, and then we offer a sustainment program after that, which is more of a fee for service. It pretty much amounts to the same amount of your program fee that physically pay for just components of the program.
Okay.
Auburn, this was their first year in the program. Leicester had similar results, as did Gardner in the first year of the program. We've been doing this is our 6th test cycle that we're entering into, so we've been doing this for a while. The program replicates a very successful program in Dallas, Texas, that had similar results over 15 years or more. The program is also executed in Connecticut, Kentucky, Virginia, Alabama, and Arkansas, all as part of the National Math and Science Initiative. We have a very neat little video on the program. If any of you just were to Google Massachusetts Math and Science Initiative, MMSI, it's on page 1 of our website. It's about 5 minutes. It's very compelling. You would hear from a number of different teachers and administrators and students. Wonderful results in the Worcester Public Schools, among perhaps some of our best results in Worcester Public Schools.
Well, AP courses is something we've been striving for, so I think that especially Mr. Coonan and I, we've had many conversations about how we're going to bring AP into this building. Does anyone else have any questions? Mr. Coonan?
Thank you, Ms. Dennis. John, first of all, you and I, and probably many in this building, share a very common goal. That's of more students, more teachers, better grades. And I work in a MIMSI school right now.
Which one?
I work for the city of Worcester.
Okay, well, you're
Right,
familiar with the results.
At North High,
Burn Code or South?
at North.
Yeah.
I work at North. And I shared an office for a year when they went through the MIMSI implementation with the MIMSI coordinator at our building. I saw the work that she did, that from your side, I don't think you were I don't know if you were there, someone else was there.
I've been there since 3 months in.
Yeah, okay, but there's a lot of great things that happened.
Yes.
And my question is the feeder system. I know you work with part of that with the professional development. And to Alan and your curriculum coordinator is not here. As a district, can we support pre-AP? And I know you have part of it, but MIMSI isn't the end-all be-all, here you go. But it's a give and take on our side too,
Right.
to work with our curriculum to support your goals.
So we are in a position to work with some of the feeder courses that are within your building. I mean, so to get to AP Science, you need to run a great
Yeah, you
first-year
do.
biology course.
Exactly.
Calculus is somewhat of a beholden to a great pre-calculus course. So we do a lot of that, but we're in the process, and next year we will be rolling out for the first time the equivalent of everything that I just told you, or a lot of what I just told you, overlaid on the various middle schools in our feeder patterns of our schools, within about 8 to 10. In the future, you would be in a position to participate in this 6 to 12 effort as well. Having said that, there is so much room for growth right now, right within your high school building, that when we are able to work with your middle schools, if you elect to work with us on that, they will have a fully developed AP program to reach to. We kind of don't have that across the board right now, but we certainly could. Here's my, where I think that you would be. Within the first year, you would double or triple the number of kids taking AP Math, Science, English.
I absolutely
You
agree.
would double or triple the number of kids gaining qualifying scores. Another piece that I didn't mention is that we do have 3 full-time content directors that are like subject area experts that visit your school periodically to work with your teachers. We have a variety of other specialist consultants, whether it's environmental science, biology, statistics, wonderful course that we think that more kids should be able to take. That would also be working with your teachers. You're probably not gonna find anywhere, anytime, more of an all-encompassing support system to move more kids forward that can certainly roll out the number of results that I've just shared with you tonight.
You know, John, I agree with that, and like I said, 3 years now, that with the MIMSI initiative, you've seen a school.
North has more than tripled the number of qualifying scores.
You've seen a school culture that has incorporated the vocabulary of MIMSI into what we do every day, and how the school operates
Right.
at that high level, at that, not just the high-achieving student, the student that could be the high achiever with just a little bit extra motivation.
Oh,
And that's what MIMSI develops and does at our building.
clearly, and when I would tell you that the value of the professional development with the AP teachers actually trickles down into all the other courses that are being taught, and it becomes a cultural thing within a school. Brett Costigian is the superintendent at Quabog, wrote a wonderful piece for the T&G a couple of years ago, talking about a complete shift to one of high academic achievement within his schools. And so, that's not to say that you don't have a great culture at your school, but we all could get better, and I think that by moving 20 to 25% more of the student body into the more rigorous courses, it's gonna have an impact.
I agree, that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Oh, I think Mr. Wells wants to talk.
Sure, come up to the mic, though, please, Mr. Wells, thank you.
Currently at the high school, we do have 2 pre-AP classes. We have pre-AP Calc, which obviously is the prep for the AP Calc, and we have a pre-AP ELA. Now, what we're looking at is adding another English. So we would have literature as well as language, so we'd move pre-AP to the sophomore year. So we have 2 support nets in place for math and for ELA currently at this time. Currently, we offer physics, and we've had great success with our freshmen in physics. So it would be a matter of talking and taking a look at how we want to shift that. And then we have the AP biology as well. One way or the other, we're prepared to, we were prepared earlier this year to present to you 3 courses that we would like to add. That's one of the English courses, that's a physics course, and a chemistry course for next year. John can work with us with that, and the consultation aspect can start as early as the 2nd week of December. As we prepare, because our 8th graders are going to be, and everyone else will be filling out course request sheets for next year.
What would you need to do to prepare?
So for the AP courses, you have to submit a syllabus that's nationally vetted. So we would help work with your teachers for syllabus development. We would help work with them if it's a new course that you're rolling out with a recommendation of texts. There are a lot of different support pieces. I mean, it basically gives the principal a number of master teachers as adjunct faculty for his staff to help set this up and get it rolling.
Mrs. Ravelli?
Just a few questions. The number of teachers then you train to be the instructors of these AP courses, on average, for each year? Are we talking
So
2 or
last
3,
year,
or-
last year at Bridgewater State, we trained somewhere between 375 to 400
No,
teachers.
in this school? Just
Oh,
in
so
this
if you
school,
have
how
an
many would you
AP
train?
If you have an AP course that you're going to be teaching, we don't cap the number of teachers that would be trained. So say there are 40 students taking language and composition, which is college rhetoric. You can either have 1 teacher with 2 sections, or you can have 2 teachers. choice is yours. I mean, both work. I mean, but in some of our most successful schools, Springfield Central comes to mind. They have 10 different AP English teachers, each with one section of AP. And the impact on their MCAS has been tremendous.
I could see that most probably for the second year, because our numbers are so low currently. And there's also a mindset that has been kind of adopted, at least for us, and I think in a lot of schools, and that is when students take an AP class that's exceptionally challenging, when they're worried about their grade point average and class rank, they're worried that their class rank is going to change. But in our presentation to the students, we need to drop that pill and sprinkle the magic dust of the awakening, whereas they understand that this is preparing them for college, which is the bigger picture than their class rank in high school. So that's something else that we're gonna have to do here.
Yeah, go
If I
ahead.
may just make a comment on that too. And part of that culture change really comes via guidance department, is to be on board with the, be able to talk to the MMC principals of this is why it's important.
So we
Something
work
that
closely
area.
with guidance as well, and
Yes.
we provide different trainings and exam deconstructions and the various different statistics that I threw out to you today about the impact on admission, the impact on college success. There's a lot of data out there that we can share with your counselors.
I just have a question for Mr. Matthew. Where would this fall in our budget?
Well, certainly for this, the current year, it's not money that we had budgeted, but certainly if the program is deemed valuable enough, we'll have to find the resources.
But what line would it fall under?
Other instructional materials, perhaps, as a contracted service.
Okay. You have something else?
Right.
Finances.
So the way this would work is that this year is already being run, so we're looking at the school year starting in September of 2014. So the next step would be to complete the application. We do a site visit in December. We make you an offer, subject to our availability to be in the state budget and other sources of funding. Then we work with you to expand your enrollment, train your teachers next summer. Should they wish to attend the training, again, it's optional. Participation is voluntary.
You choose us, we don't choose you? Is that how
You
that
choose to
goes?
apply, and it's a competitive application process. I think that you'd make a great, we're looking to add 20 schools. I think that when we look at your school and the capacity for growth, you're a tremendous school to apply for the grant. You have a lot of potential.
You know, and excuse me, but
Go ahead.
that's what it says right there. If you look at it, we have very good teachers. Mr. Wells has identified programs that he knows can be successful. How can we further expand that?
Yeah, that line will turn vertical
Shows right there.
after your first year. I mean,
We're already
you'll,
making growth right now.
right.
Get more into it. Very good.
Anything else from the committee?
Well,
ahead.
I guess, can you just clarify again, the professional development that you offer
Sure.
with this?
So most teachers will attend an Advanced Placement Summer Institute. That's 5 days of training ordinarily done in the summer. There are a number of ones great summer institutes in the region, Taft in Connecticut, St. Johnsbury in Vermont. We do our own. It had been at Bentley for the previous 3 years. Last year, we moved to, for capacity and just for partnering, to Bridgewater State University, where we trained about 400 teachers last year. Again, with faculty that we draw from all across the country. We go to the various AP conferences and scouting for new talent, members of the various test development committees, college professors, others. So again, last year we had 3 chief readers to include the chief reader from calculus, who doesn't do very many of these things. In addition, so there are 2 types of summer institutes. It's the New Teacher Summer Institute, and then for your teachers that have been around for a while, an Advanced AP Summer Institute for, to make teachers into master teachers. Your teachers have the opportunity to attend. It's in the summer. We do stipend them to attend, but it's more of an honorarium than their negotiated rate. And then we do a 2-day workshop every year, ordinarily run in Marlboro. Again, similar caliber of presenters, usually in October. So they get the Summer Institute, this kind of set conditions, and then about 2 months into the school year, they come back together again. and the teachers every year get to go to the two-day workshop. Again, a small cost to the district on that would be some substitute costs. The other cost to the district that you need to consider is some busing costs for the Saturdays with the kids. So some of the Saturdays will be here, some of them would be in neighboring schools. So there is a little bus cost associated with this. We do help with local fundraising and outreach to help defer the costs, whether it's a local area campaign or it could be a Chamber of Commerce briefings. The way that you would be invoiced for the first year. It would be in December of 2014 that you would get the bill for the first year.
So that's 5 days of training, and then 2 days of a follow-up in October.
And then, as much as as we can arrange for actual in-classroom teacher mentoring with our master teachers, our staff, our content directors.
And what is the average? I'm just wondering what.
A good
kind of
example
support
was
there is for
last
the
year,
teacher.
our math director lives on the South Shore. He visited the new calculus teacher in North Adams 4 times. That's a heck of a drive to get there, too. So depending on the need. And then there are a variety of other virtual reaches, whether it's email or phone calls in between. But so again, if your principal wants support, our motto is you call, we haul. So we'll get there.
And is that included in this yearly
Yes,
price of 10,000?
Yep.
Right, so the only additional costs are the busing. And you said something
and some
else.
substitute costs for the 2-day workshops.
Right.
They're not all on the same day either.
Mhm.
We're not gonna clean out the school. We've been in 78 different schools in Massachusetts. We're in about 50 right now.
So where have you been? You
Well,
haven't been here?
the map is in your, the map is in your handout, but I mean,
Webster just got in, right, last year?
yeah, Bartlett is in the program. Shepherd Hill is in the program, Tantasco's in the program, Palmer's in the program, Uxbridge, Douglas, Northbridge. All old friends that are doing very well in the program.
What took so long to come to Oxford?
It's a process where we do reach out. Word doesn't always reach decision makers through email or telephone calls or what have you. We did feel the need to go to some of the big urban centers first. So we are in 12 schools in Boston, 5 in Worcester, 2 in Springfield. Chelsea High School was the College Board's Small District of the Year for the United States. They were with us for 5 years. Pretty proud of that. So, yeah, I mean, I can't answer that question. Other than to say that,
Just curious, because you're all of our neighbors,
yeah,
you know.
And it's been staggered as well.
we do kind of have to balance the map a little bit. So we are in the Berkshires, we're on the Cape, we're in the Merrimack Valley, we're in the big urban centers. We're here now. It's the best I can do.
Right, that's good. Anything else from the committee? Nothing. Thank you very much, we appreciate it. We
Well,
will
thank
take-
you for your patience. We did get the slides on the board, but, and if anyone has any questions, don't hesitate. I'll leave some business cards here.
Very good,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walsall.
Moving along in the agenda, Mrs. Susan would come up and we will go through the SPED handbook for its second reading.
Good evening.
Good evening, thank you for coming in.
No problem. This is our second reading for our transportation handbook. We really have, even recently found the need to have this and have this in place. There were just a couple of things you all wanted, which were some typos that were corrected and numbering of pages. And there was a question, if you look at page 3, about what we do when we cannot deliver a child home. When we've made multiple attempts and how many attempts we would make before we would have to go further. It doesn't happen very often, in fact, very seldom, although I have in my career had this happen. When a driver attempts to drop a student off, and for the most part, when you think about a student that's receiving special education transportation, they're, for the most part, receiving it because of their disability. If we send a student to an out-of-district school, we obviously have to transport them because they're going out of town. And our buses, our big yellow buses, don't go out of town. So we have to transport them. And sometimes it's not because that they have to ride that vehicle because of their actual disability, but because they're going to an out-of-district placement. Some students need to ride those vehicles because of their disabilities for a wide variety of reasons. So typically, we don't really, just like we don't with our young kids, we don't want to leave them at home. We can't drop them off at home without a parent being present or a responsible adult. And there are articles in here about notification that a parent needs to send us a note every year to let us know that their student can be dropped off without somebody there, all those different types of things. We don't like to do that, but with our older students, obviously high school age, sometimes we can. Sometimes, for whatever reason, a driver will go try to drop the student off in the afternoon, and there's nobody at home to greet that student, and often a locked door, they can't get in. Typically, what a driver will do will be to go finish the route, or at least do part of the route and try to keep swinging back, just in case a parent got caught in traffic, 395 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, heaven help them. So sometimes they will try to do something like that and keep swinging back around to try to get the student back home. When they can't, and when there's nobody there and they've finished the route, and in between all of this, they will pick up their radio and they will call Linda Cheney, who is our transportation coordinator. If it becomes a real issue, Linda will call our office if she can't do that. And a variety of things can happen then. Typically what happens is a student is brought to us, and then we try to continue to make contact, or we go through an emergency list, which they have to provide. And we have an emergency list of contacts. So if you can't drop the child off, who's the next person on the emergency list, on their list to call? And sometimes you get a relative who can come over to the house and meet that student and take charge of that student. Their name is already on the emergency contact list that the parent has provided. Sometimes it becomes a problem because it happens more than one time. And if it happens multiple times, and I believe, Dan, you had asked us to clarify the number. Yeah. And we thought, if you take a look at page 3, we thought, and I checked with other directors who've done this, and I actually went back and looked at one of my old ones from another district, and basically looking at more than 3 times in 1 month. If we were not able to come to some agreement and figure out what was going on, with a parent. But we do a lot of phone calls in the meantime and trying to figure out, what's going on. Is it, would your child be better off later in the run? Yeah. So maybe we're dropping your child off at 3:10 and you can't get out of work and get there until 3:25 or something like that. So how can we arrange the run? So those are the kind of things. But you would ask for that, so we clarified that.
Thank you, that's a great clarification.
Sure.
Anything else from the committee in regard to this handbook?
Looks good.
Okay.
I do have one question, and I wish I had brought it up before, when I was looking it over. What is the policy? Is there a policy, should there be a policy, or I'm just creating something that doesn't happen, about parents or siblings getting on the bus? Like someone's on the bus and they want to get on to do this, and it ends up being a distraction on the bus. Does that happen at all?
Well, typically we provide transportation for these students because of their disability. Their disability requires that they are provided transportation in a different way. And you can think of all the different types of disabilities that might come into play. That's why we have special ed transportation. We are fortunate in this town, although I'm not sure that Rich and I always think we're fortunate, nor does Linda, that we have our own transportation company. This is only the second time in my career that I've had that. I've always had to contract out except for one other place besides here. And so when you're looking at that then becomes a real problem. We also look at being able to fit the students on the vehicles. The vehicles are here, and we provide that service for the needs of our special ed students. So we can't crowd up a vehicle and then need to get another vehicle and another driver, because that's an additional cost to the town. I've only been here a little bit over a year, so I can't speak to if that's a big issue. I don't know if you can, Rich.
There may be an occasion with the big yellow buses where, parents, are a little more involved than they should be, but in terms of the sped transportation, no, that really hasn't been an issue that's been
Has
raised.
been an issue of a parent, so it's okay for the parent to get on the bus, to talk to the student, or talk to the driver.
Is it okay to do that?
Yeah.
Well, they typically will put, depending on the student's disability, if you read through here, they will often put the student on the bus, because the van driver can't get off of the bus. There are all kinds of different regulations in the transportation world about
Right.
locking wheelchairs and using lifts and all that sort of thing. But they very frequently, especially if a child's in a booster seat, children have to ride on a vehicle like that. They have to ride in a car seat a lot longer than children would in our cars, or certainly than on the big yellow bus. So it typically is not an issue. If it's an issue, I think the drivers have been doing a really good job of handling that and not delaying a van run because of that. And when there's an issue, Linda picks up the phone or comes over to my office. Sometimes the three of us sit down, or Linda and I look at runs and figure out runs to make sure that that's not a problem.
That's all I have. I just want to say thank you for the changes and updating this book.
Not a problem.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I so move that to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We will
you very
send this
much.
out with our next run of progress reports to everybody.
Very good,
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda will be budget management process, I'm sorry. I don't know who wants to start with this. Mr. Matthew?
Thank you. This is just for the committee to authorize how we're going to manage the budget. Again, just as a reminder, previously, it had been managed through the function codes, so any over budget within a function code required a budget transfer. Last year, I had recommended that we go to a model using just salaries and expenses. Both of those budget numbers are shown on the back of my memo, and it's just a matter of the committee deciding and giving me authority one way or another. Or a third way if somebody wants to talk about a new and different way.
Any thoughts from any members in regard to this change? Potential change?
Is that us?
Yes,
Is it imperative that we vote on this evening? I'd like a little more time.
sure, we can hold it, yep. We can hold it till our next meeting, absolutely. I actually would too.
Just what, I wasn't prepared for this evening.
Okay, no problem. We'll hold on to that. We'll just table it for tonight, and we'll bring it up at our next meeting. I'm also going to table the phys ed exemptions. I have some more information on that I want to go through. Mr. Wells, come on up. We're very surprised you're here tonight. I would have thought you would be on some tropical island drinking a drink with an umbrella in it with your bride.
Well, it's
Why
all a
you're
state
here,
of,
I don't understand.
it's all a state of mind.
I guess so.
So we have
I
the
guess
heat
so.
lamps on at home.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations on your wedding, and we hope that you have many years of bliss. There is a new diploma you'd like us to consider, and we've passed it around.
The difference being twofold. One, we would have the Town of Oxford seal in the middle, which would be gold. Currently, that is black in color. And then secondly, I know that it's a pretty tedious task for everyone to sign over 100 diplomas. So what happens here is they make a template, you'd sign it once, and then it's a raised signature that would be on all of the
Sold.
all of the diplomas.
Wow. Guess somebody
We
doesn't
are-
like signing,
we truly are one of the few left that everyone signs every single diploma.
Yeah.
So we're also, this year, for the first time, we'll be having the valedictorian and salutatorian will have medals that will distinguish them for their honors, which is a little bit different. We're trying to spice things up a little bit and recognize people at graduation. It certainly should be.
Very good. Any questions or comments in regard to the new diploma? Do I have a motion to accept?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good. If you could stay for a few minutes, Mr. Wells, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
While we're talking about into new business, I do want to discuss the article that was in the TNG on the 21st in regard to the teacher evaluations. I will start off, and then I think Mr. Coonan has a few things he would like to bring up also. First glance, of course, I think all of us were very upset with what we read here, that the Oxford High School has 83.3% teachers in need of improvement. And this is from our Race to the Top, I expect, audit. This came through? Mr. Himmelberger?
No, this is just part of the reporting from the state.
From the state, okay. Where can we see this report? Where can we get it, a copy of it?
I believe it's online at the,
At DESI?
DESI, but I can certainly make sure that you get a copy of the.
Did you get one? Did you get a report of it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can we get a copy of that one? All right. If we could all have a copy of that. I'd like comment from the superintendent and the principal in regard to this. I don't know how many people heard from parents this weekend. I heard from 3. And then, of course, there was other, on Facebook, there was some comments made, and there was some, some other things that I heard go on. So what I would like, first of all, is an explanation, and I'm gonna have Mr. Coonan ask any of his questions first, so we can take it into consideration, all of the concerns I think we have. I think that for myself, this whole thing floored me, and it really upset me, more than I expected it to. So, Mr. Coonan, I'll let you add on anything you want to, and then, of course, the rest of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Ennis. Reading this in the paper, was I shocked? No. My own school wasn't listed in there, and we're in the first year of those teacher evaluations. And I understand where the numbers were gonna come from. And part of it is the teacher binders and the training that's required to put the binders together, to go through and to rate on the scales where they are. A lot of that comes through professional development. I know that Mr. Himmelberg, that this was on about this time last year, when I was the chair, he came to me and says, we need time to do this. And I think we gave you pretty adequate time, that was with the half days. And where is the direction going for, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, the very few proficient, but a lot in the NI category of putting those together. That, and this is not a knock on the teachers, this is not a knock on Mr. Wells and the principal, but I think any time where numbers are low in the initial year, and again, we get bad test scores, it was, it's not the kid's fault, it's the teacher's fault. On this one here, did we properly train the administration in terms of doing the evaluations and reading the pieces they put together? Have we trained the students, the teachers, how to properly construct their binders to be evaluated? Anything from here comes from the top down, through your, and mainly into your office, where yourself and the person, I believe Mrs. Daly, curriculum coordinator, constructed the PD. Were there specifics within that hit these parameters, and are they working? If we have this many teachers that low, and I find, like Ms. Sensei shocked that, we have good teachers in the system. I don't think it's a fair representation. If it is, it is. It is a representation. It's got to be changed. It's got to be rectified. The things have got to be done, but it's going to start from the top down on the training of the new teacher evaluation system. So really, that's my concern of were our teachers properly trained to handle this?
Hammelberger?
Thank you, Mrs. Ennis. I know exactly what you were feeling, because of the boldness of the percentages in the paper were disturbing. I think part of the drawback with, whenever you implement a new system to this depth and breadth, is that if you don't have everything in context, then it is subject to interpretation, and people tend to make their own interpretation. To Mr. Cronin's point, we provided many days of training, both full days and half days, with subs, using Teachers 21. I think the number is, the total number is the issue. And whenever you implement something this broad, the first year is always gonna have a lot of hiccups. And what we did consciously was to make sure that we did each evaluation with integrity, with timing, so that teachers that, and professional staff that were evaluated felt that it was fair and equitable. And having talked to the union president today, she reiterated that everybody that was evaluated felt that they understood the process, to Dan's point about collecting evidence and making sure that everybody knew the different layers of the rubric. But like anything else, and the commissioner certainly said it in his message last week, that the second year will be better and be more refined, and the year after that will be as well. Now, the reason why the numbers are skewed is because the number was small, the number of evaluations that we did. If we had done a different sample, then we wouldn't be having this discussion. Also,
Were evaluated,
I'm sorry,
how many?
at the high school, 6.
6?
6,
Right. And the problem with that is that if they were all proficient with one exemplary, we wouldn't be having the discussion. I am confident that we have continued the professional development, to Dan's point, and we have continued the training so that this year, everybody, including me, in the professional staff that falls under this educator evaluation system will be evaluated. All 160 of us, either with formative or summative evaluations. But as we implemented this training, we would rather have it done correctly and not rushed in. Could we have done a better job of implementing? Perhaps. But I would take full responsibility for it. I think that it was a lot of, there were a lot of issues to overcome in our district, and I think that we did overcome a lot of them. But, you know, I think that the issue, certainly in black and white, was not indicative of the staff that we have here. And we have an outstanding group of not only teachers, but nurses, guidance, team chairs, all of the folks that fall under this educator evaluation. And the state numbers that were released, that everybody across the state that was evaluated, came in pretty close with what I think was projected. And that was 80 to 90% of educators would be rated proficient. And, 4 or 5 or 6% would be rated exemplary, and, 5, 6, 7% would be rated needs improvement. Across the state, there was only 0.7% that were failing. And I think that in our district, as we will see this year, the majority will be rated proficient, which is the goal of the tool. The other thing that is the goal of the tool is to make sure that folks that do not have professional status, and the commissioner wrote it in his memo, which coincidentally I was reading after this on Friday, that typically teachers who are in their first year do not know everything and are learning. And they should be ranked needs improvement. It doesn't mean that they are not teaching well. It means that they are still learning, so that when the rubric says that you do this all the time, maybe they're only doing it on an inconsistent basis. But at the end of the day, someone that is rated needs improvement, it can certainly still be an outstanding teacher with mentoring, training, and professional development, and experience. And we have teachers who are across the Commonwealth that have taught for 15 or 20 years, who will tell you that they still learn every week, every day, how to improve the craft and the art of teaching. So, I can't tell you how upsetting it was to me personally that the raw numbers didn't allow for an explanation. Obviously, it took the high school staff by surprise. It certainly gave students pause for questioning. But at the end of the day, as we evaluate this year, we will see that we are, across the district, very proficient at what we do. And we will show our fair share of exemplary staff. And not everyone gets the trophy. The goal of this educator evaluation is to make sure that our staff is proficient, and that is how the rubrics are set up. And certainly, the issue that the commissioner wanted to guard against was in a district where there had not been much turnover and a lot of senior staff, that folks didn't say, well, this district must be better because it has 11.5% exemplary teachers. And conversely, a district that has had retirements, strong numbers of retirements for 2 years, which hired a lot of new teachers for a year or two, and has teachers rated as needs improvement, would not be judged unfairly either. So in terms of what we are looking for this year, I think the first thing that I will do and have done is to correct the perception that we don't have strong teachers. I met with, Mr. Wells and I met with the high school staff today. And I believe that certainly one way is to reach out with our all-call, not the phone, but the email, everyone, to delineate this so that everyone understands where we are and what we are doing this year. We are working quite intensely with our district and school assistance team because we are level 3. We are working to provide professional development to teachers. We are also working to provide professional development to the administrative team, so that we can better understand the evaluation system. But it in no way does it provide the level of detail that we will get this year, as all of us are going to be evaluated. Everybody is on one of the 4 plans this year, everybody. And as we go through it, we are getting better at anticipating and understanding what needs to be done. Obviously, as Mr. Coonan knows, the timing involved here is substantial. And in several districts, the notice has gone home that you can't expect principals to return calls the same day anymore, because we are so busy and to implement this properly. And this is only one of several initiatives that we are facing, all at the same time. And so, the fact that we were not able to have more evaluated last year was a conscious decision that I instructed the administrative team to make sure that we did the ones that we could do with integrity. We did that. Could we have had more done? Perhaps. However, I did not want to sacrifice the quality of the evaluation for that. And I take full responsibility for where we are. We have a group of dedicated administrators, of hardworking teachers, of even non-professional staff that have stepped up this year. And, I think that that's gonna be a challenge to deliver to the community that this district is on the right track. And I would expect that our scores will improve, and that we would be out of level 3 status. It doesn't change our work next year if we can attain that, and I firmly believe that we can. We have done a lot of work to engage the students with their responsibility for their best efforts on MCAS. And I think that is certainly within range to be a level 2 district, and then set our sights on becoming a level 1 district. And obviously, this math and science initiative is a huge lever to get us more depth and to allow our students to strive for more. And so, I'm confident that we will provide a very accurate, well-trained, well-thought-out educator evaluation report for this year. The first year, last year, was a challenge for us for several reasons, but, I don't want anyone to take the raw number and say that therefore it must be, because it's simply not true. Mr. Wells, Mr. Nugent, all of the principals have worked extremely hard to make this work properly, and it was a bigger mountain maybe than we thought it was going to be, but at the end of it, we will make sure that it gets done properly this year.
Who chose the 6 teachers?
I did.
Do you have anything, Mr. Wells, any comment to make?
I have a lot, but I'd rather answer questions, and then I'll fill
Any
in other
questions from
blanks.
any
If
of
anyone
the
has questions of me specifically.
members of the committee?
Ms. Ennis.
Go ahead.
The same question on a 6. So, are our teachers here on a two-year cycle, formative, summative? Is there a 2-year cycle?
That's part of the teachers here,
Okay,
but we have teachers that are on 2-year cycles. In the big scheme of life, it's overall,
yeah,
it can be complex, but it involves a large amount of time. A 2-year cycle is a veteran teacher
right,
that, at the end of their first year, you do a formative assessment. At the end of their second year is when you do a summative assessment.
right.
In between time, we do 4 walkthroughs and 1 classroom visitation. So for Oxford High School, for Mr. Nugent and myself, that's about 220 times that we go into classrooms with an assessment tool during the course of a year. So just to kind of put it a little more into perspective. And I divided the faculty in half. Last year, our target was to try to get 50% of the faculty evaluated. The evaluation process is steps, from the beginning of putting their goals in all the way through summative.
Right.
There were 6 that had the summative. That's not to say that there weren't several that were already through the process, but we didn't get to the summative aspect of their evaluation. Does that make sense? Or is that clear?
It does, but I do have another question. I think
Yeah,
it's best
that's
to the
fine.
superintendent, and maybe Mrs. Ennis. What happened when in the contract negotiation, which I wasn't part of, that it was signed in with a new teacher evaluation system? So, as part of that, and part of the contract, was it understood that half your faculty would be and half wouldn't be on this, going on to the cycle? So, is it fair to say that some teachers weren't fully evaluated? By
That
doing
is
only
fair to say.
6?
Yes, that is fair
That
to
it should have
say.
been thereabouts,
Correct.
50% in theory.
Right.
So the other ones weren't evaluated.
Right, and we say 50% because most of them were on one-year plans.
Okay, roughly, in a perfect world, when there's no one-year plans, that there are outliers, I agree with that. But for the majority of your staff, it's a year-on, year-off.
There's a directed growth plan and a self-directed that combine, that's where all of our teachers pretty much lie,
Yeah,
at this point in time. So, last year, the vast majority of the teachers that we started the evaluation process with here at the high school were on directed plans.
so, and if we're getting way, if Ms. Ennis stop me, or if I'm going somewhere that we shouldn't be going with this, it requires the executive session. So, the other teachers, other than the 6 that could have fallen in that range, did they not have the materials in time? Or was it just
No,
a
that
decision
was
by
honestly
administrative-
my inability to get into the classrooms to wrap things up. Quite frankly, I think that, as you look at, and I have the article here, as you look at all of the districts, there's various levels. So Oxford had the middle school and the high school in that level. One of the things that concerned me, other than, see, percentages obviously can be blown, and here's a real good case of
Right.
completely out of proportion. We have over 40 teachers at Oxford High School. The sampling ended up coming from 6 final
6.
ones. Because last year was supposed to be the beginning, the bridge year, and quite frankly, I was not aware, I don't know if the superintendent was, that the first year it would be public. I mean, for example, at this point in time, we're, pushing the halfway point, so we've gone through, and I'm very comfortable and confident with where we are in the evaluation process. But one of the things that bothered me was, I said, to myself, I've been here, this is my 6th year. I've worked with people, I've hired a lot. All of the hires that I've made since I've been here, and I guess it could be brought into luck, I don't want to say that I choose great teachers, but all the teachers that are on board right now are very, very good. They're not even average teachers. Some of them, because of youthfulness, have got to grow. But intellectually, they're exceptionally bright. That combined with the teachers that have veteran status and have been here for a number of years, and some that have been here for a long time, we have a tremendous blend at Oxford High School. So I looked for myself this morning, and I went through, we have an attendance sheet. And what I did was I just put down who I think today would be needs improvement, proficient, and advanced. So for all of Oxford and the entire school committee, I am comfortable from a reputation standpoint in 34 years of education to say to you that it's my guesstimate, educated guesstimate, that at the end of this year, and I promise you I have too many ethical factors about me that I wouldn't fix these numbers, but about 14% of our staff at Oxford High School are exemplary. Now, is 14 2 people? Is it 42 people? You only know when you know the gross number. And we don't know the gross number of the percentage that was in the newspaper. But 14% would be exemplary. About 69% would be proficient. And then maybe 17% would be needs improvement. And again, as we were taught and trained, Mr. Coonan, you brought it up, our training, and you did get it approved last year, so our training went into probably March for the teachers as well as the administrators, and it was a process, and it was a tedious process, but we did go through it. But one of the things in our training is one of the trainers said, "Are you a good parent?" Well, most people would fall on the line between needs improvement and proficient. Like, do you do it all right? Well, no, I really could use some improvement here. So, one, I think when the public reads needs improvement, they look at it in a negative connotation. I mean, you can look at John Lackey last year, certainly, the year before last, needed improvement, you know, the last time he got on the mound. And now all of a sudden he's proficient. Well, maybe it's because he lost weight or whatever have you. But all of us can improve. And it's not a negative connotation. Now, obviously, if you're failing, that's a real problem. But I can assure you, as of right at this moment right now, there's no one in this building that is even close to having a huge concern that they don't have all the ethical, professional qualities to teach and to do so outstanding. Some are going to take more time than others. But I would say those are the percentages. 14 ballpark figure for exemplary, 69 for proficient, and maybe 17 for needs improvement.
Now, Mr. Wells,
Yeah.
can I continue?
Sure.
And I totally, I appreciate that. And in my comments beginning is, needs improvement isn't in the first year, isn't a bad thing. And my question is, and I guess I'm gonna ask you directly, did you receive enough support to be able, because you had to make a conscious decision, and I appreciate your honesty tonight in telling us, I had to do it, I could only do 6. Was there enough support at the district level? What else do you need to have gotten this done? That when we signed on this evaluation, and it'd be interesting to see other schools, how many went through and how many didn't. For example, at the middle school, what are percentages is at the middle school? Well, percentages, what's the number of faculty that went through it at the middle school?
It was 20. I don't have that number off the top of my head.
Oxford Middle School, 20% exemplary.
In terms of the raw
Well, thinking of numbers,
Oh,
yeah, you wouldn't
the
know.
raw amount.
yeah, I don't.
The other thing that if I can, through the chair, is that we have to be careful because we cannot draw an inference to specific teachers. You know, part of the state law was that we
No,
would
we're not.
No, we're
make
not.
sure that
We're not.
No, we're not going there.
No, we won't do that.
Not even remotely.
No, not at all, but I think that shockingly, only 6 went through it. And that's where, I know.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Shockingly, only 6 people went through it. And this is where, as a committee, okay,
6 people closed out.
6 people closed
Which-
out.
In all reality, the summative form is sent in on 6 people.
Okay, so where do those others fit into on their contracted evaluation status?
Well, again, you know, so the ones this year that are, a lot of teachers are on the 2-year self-directed plan. So they will have the formative assessment in June. And then their summative will be a year from this June of 15. The other group will be back on a 1-year directed plan. And then next year, if it's their 3rd year, would be 1-year directed plan. Then after that, they would go on a self-directed plan for 2 years.
So they're going on, just make sure I get this right. So they'll have to submit the binder for the next.
3 years in a row.
The next 3 years in a row because they didn't get it in on time this year. Or it wasn't getting in on time in this year.
No, they'll have to do it 3 years in a row because of their years of service.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Yeah,
last
I get
year-
that, I get that.
okay.
Okay, that's your, you know teachers, previous it was called tenure, or teachers with status, and they keep changing those terms.
Right.
I agree with that. Of the 6 turned them in this year. There should have been.
No, it's not 6 turned in, because I was the one that had to do the summative. So in other words, I had information ready to do summative and didn't finish the summatives on some of my teachers.
So
So in
those,
other words, here's binders 1 through 6, here's binders 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I didn't get through them enough to be able to then look at the summative evaluation and fill that out.
I understand that,
Okay,
Okay, but
so I own a big part of that,
yes, you own a
not the
big part of that.
teacher.
But the teacher, by contract, wasn't properly evaluated, is that correct? That's where I'm, we have an obligation.
Correct, because, yes,
It-
that is,
the-
that is
so-
accurate. That is
so-
accurate.
Where do they fall now in the status of their evaluations? Have they been done after the fact? Are we all caught up, or now?
They have
here.
started, they have started a brand-new plan as of August 28th this year to go forward from here.
Well, what happened to last year's?
Last year's they were not completed.
So they weren't evaluated then?
That's exactly correct. So we're not gonna go back and do that. We're gonna go forward.
I understand we're going forward, but we still have a contract obligation we didn't meet.
Okay, so I guess that's a question that I can't answer.
It's a
That will be for executive session.
okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right, thank you very much. Let's see what we have next. Mr. Murray, you're up.
I'm sorry to interject. Do you have before you the two? Oh, okay.
We do, through the chair,
Yeah.
we have an NJROTC request for out-of-state.
Oh,
And I just wanted to
Okay.
get that before the committee because it is coming up, as we haven't been met on a regular basis, so we just have one.
all right, go ahead.
What's that? It'll be very quick, because one of them, I believe, Commander Maisley had sent you a list that you received of several out-of-state, one of which will be Albany, New York. They have competition. He just wants to confirm that you're aware of that in 2 weeks. And then we have 4 students that he's requesting permission. We've done this in the past. It's a great overnight trip. They go to Burlington, Vermont, and they spend 3 days there in a leadership training camp. More specifically, they will also go to this leadership training camp, but then they will visit the University of Vermont, Lake Champlain, Ethan Allen Homestead, Ben and Jerry's original ice cream, very important, I know, to the commander. So it is educational, as well as it is a training for each and every one of the students, with leadership reaction courses, how to communicate effectively. It goes over the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, water survival skills. So it's something that we have done over and over at Norwich University, and he's requesting that he and 4 students be allowed to attend.
Who are the students?
I don't have their specific names.
Okay.
There are 3 other weekend trainings over the course of the year, so he will, or I will come before you again, and he'll take small pockets each time to try to bring them up there. This is at no cost to the students or to the school district.
Can we do this all in one?
I'd so move it all in one.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we approved the 2 out-of-town trips.
Thank you. Is there
Thank
any
you.
need for me to stay?
You are all set, sir. Thank you very much for
Okay,
coming in.
thank you.
All right, Mr. Murray, now, you are man of the hour.
Thank you very much. To begin with, going back to last month, on October 30th, our theater department presented 3 plays, all of which were student-written, student-directed, and student-performed. So our teacher had nothing to do with any of them except for screening them for appropriateness, and it turned out to be a very successful exercise. November 6th, we had a blood drive right here in the community room. We collected, I believe the final count was 34 units of whole blood, and I believe 6 units of double red cells, which is a pretty good amount of blood to send out to the Red Cross and get it to people who need it. On November 12th, we held parent-teacher conferences. On November 17th, some of our students participated with Special Olympic athletes in a Special Olympics bocce tournament held at Grafton High School, and one of our teams actually won, so that was good to see with our Special Olympics program being integrated. On November 20th and 21st, we hosted a contest called the O Factor, which is loosely based off of the X Factor television show. It was like a talent show, and it spanned 2 nights with audience voting. So it was our second year hosting it, and it was as successful as the first one. Mrs. Ennis was one of our famed judges. Today we held our annual turkey run, which is an event in which certain school groups get together to put together baskets so that needy families that could not otherwise afford a Thanksgiving dinner can have a Thanksgiving dinner. We collected in total 45 full dinners with some extra food, nearly 1 ton of food in total. It took 3 of our Oxford DPW trucks to bring it over to the food pantry, so thank you to the Oxford DPW for helping out with that. And then this Thursday, our Thanksgiving Day football game will be held at Bay Path, so that's looking to be a good game as well.
Very good, Ben. Thank you very much. The O Factor is quite an event, I have to say. I'm like the Paula Abdul of judges. It was great, great time. Very talented students. Next on the agenda, Superintendent of Schools, please.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ennis. Just wanted to reiterate what John Smolinski had presented to us, that, we were looking to increase our advanced placement courses here. And certainly, with the amount of money available, we look forward to a 3-year commitment so that we can do that. And I also wanted to wish everyone, students, families, and staff, and school committee, a happy Thanksgiving. I did a quick add of the food that was collected today, and it was pretty close to 2,000 pounds of food that students and staff collected for those most needy. And I think everyone should be congratulated for that. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Matthew.
Thank you very much. Everybody should have my budget update in their packets. I don't know if anybody has any questions specifically on the numbers. I do want to point out, and based on the previous action, I know we tabled doing the budget control discussion until the next meeting. I would ask the committee for a budget transfer for the position that was created at the last meeting, the part-time IT position, but that can be done together. Vote is fine there. But one piece of business for the committee is, as you probably all remember, at the start of the year, we had to add an 11th bus at the last minute to deal with walkers in the Chafee area. Now that that enrollment has quieted down, ridership has kind of leveled out in terms of we know who's on the bus on a regular basis, who rides in on a regular basis through other transportation or actually do walk. We are confident that we can remove the 11th bus. So I come before the committee to let you know that. I'd ask for a vote that we do that, and we can make that effective for next Monday. We've got everything ready to go.
Okay, good. That's good. All right, I'll entertain a motion to remove the 11th bus from the Chafee run.
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
5 affirmative. Thank you very much. That's
Ms.
good.
Dennis, can I just add,
Sure.
just a quick what's the cost savings on that approximately?
It was about $100 a day, as I recall, we negotiated. So it'll be a somewhat substantial savings from money that we didn't have budgeted or planned already. So, the sooner we could stop that, the best.
Thank you, Ms. Matthew, for your hard work on that.
And just one last note for the committee. I will bring forward the FY15, believe it or not, budget request for transportation, crossing guards, and Medicaid management at the next meeting. It is very possible and probable that I will ask for an 11th bus for the middle school and elementary runs, but I want to have all my details together for the committee before I entertain that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew. From the committee members, Mrs. Ravelli?
I just wanted to, another reminder for people to update subcommittees. The superintendent's office is trying to update our website, and we still haven't received phone calls or notification from people, just to let superintendent's office know what committees that you're serving on and when they're meeting. and also trying to set a meeting for the policy committee. And looking for a possibility of a Monday evening,
Yes, as we
And-
discussed.
and we'll set that when? Do you have a,
I don't, I'll, as I told you, I'll give you a call. I have to
Okay.
look at my schedule.
so, but we're looking at tentative for people who might be interested, Monday evenings for policy committee?
On a
I'm
off
just
night.
saying that, yeah.
Yeah.
On the nights that, obviously, that we don't have a school committee meeting. And nothing else, enjoy the short week this week and your holidays.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Walker?
I'm in a state of numb shock after all the information we've tried to take in tonight, but I was startled by reading the newspaper report about our system, and I feel a little more comfortable with that information with some of the explanations we've had. But I also hope the parents of the high school students are going to be able to be informed on a more personal level about what they read in the newspaper. I have every belief that everyone is doing their best, but since we are all human, sometimes we can't even meet our own goals. I hope we can meet in the new year at a parents and friends of the school system meeting, as we did before, Mrs. Ennis. I think it might be a great help to soften the blows of information and to begin to charge people up for what we've heard on the agenda tonight. And I also wish everyone a very pleasant day and weekend, focusing on giving thanks for what we do have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Walker. Mrs. Gausher?
I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to the football game on Thursday, and that's it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Coonan?
Thank you, Mrs. Ennis. First of all, I want to congratulate all the schools on what I have heard is very successful parent-teacher conferences. I went at the middle school, and there was a fair number of parents, very good amount of parents. But the scheduling that the teachers do upon their own to get people in and out, I thought was it was a help. It was a help to go through that and know that you're not going to wait in line for an hour. The administration was around. I heard the same at the high school and at the elementary school. They have set times. Is that a couple parents were upset that certain individuals couldn't be there, and I say to them, if you're one watching that, if the teacher wasn't there, to please be persistent in calling the school and to get a hold of that teacher, because it is very important that if that teacher wasn't there, that you have a right to meet with that teacher at any time, and please be persistent with that. If there are any problems with that, to contact the administrator, and then finally contact the superintendent's office if you feel that you're having trouble getting an acceptable meeting time obviously during the day with your child's teacher. And then finally, again, happy Thanksgiving. We do have a short week. There is a half day this week for the Iowa Public Schools, and then they'll enjoy their Thursday, Friday off. And then Monday, we roll out the winter sports. So look forward to that. Good luck to the football team, and congratulations to those uncalled men that went through the year. The numbers were low. I did see quite a few games. The last game was at the Oakmont game, and the perseverance and fight in those young men is only a testament to that, of their coaches, that the scores look tough, but they battle. Each and every play they battle, and congratulations to them and their coaches, and to all the athletes throughout the fall season. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coonan. Just so everyone knows, the next agenda that we have for our next meeting will be consisting of the only business we'll be doing that night will be the superintendent evaluation. So if you have any information you need to look up, please do it before the meeting. there's anything that you need, you can either get in touch with me or through the superintendent's office. And questions and everything, come prepared, please, for that meeting, because we need to get this off, we need to start the process, and this is just the right time to do so. I don't really have anything else other than happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and enjoy the time with your family and friends. And that's all I have. We will be going into executive session, so I'd like to entertain a motion to do so.
So move.
It will be under Section 21, subsection 2. Purpose of conducting strategy in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining, etc. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Mrs. Ravelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gauscher?
Yes.
Mr. Coonan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We are now in executive session. We will only adjourn to just finish the evening.